Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I forgot that we did a bit for this, but
Okay.
let's power through.
And I'm Claire, and I am going to start playing Fallout.
And this is
Make That Game, where we pitch the latest,
the greatest
new video game ideas
that will never get made. We don't make them.
but we do think them.
Yeah. Thinking.
Oh, yeah.
We're think-em-uppers,
This is a podcast at night.
if you couldn't tell.
Every time I think about things at night, I think about the SpongeBob episode, the hash slinging slasher, and he's taking out the trash at night. Taking out the trash at night. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that does not ring
There's
a bell.
people who are listening who will know. I'm
Okay,
sure.
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Ick yick.
Ick yick? Oh, yeah. Ick yick. I know that one. Okay. So, yeah, we pitched game ideas, and I'm just so darn excited about mine that I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm not even going to pass the buck.
I hope you don't pitch the same game I have.
Is your game about dragons?
No.
Oh, okay.
Then it'll be fine.
All right. So my game, I'm sure that there's a cool name that you could come up with for it, but I don't do names. I just do games. That's my whole gimmick. But basically the concept is it's an open world dragon simulator RPG kind of deal.
Okay.
Dragon rider simulator, because part of it is I want you to be able to have like a stable of different dragons and like wyverns and maybe even griffins if you really want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like just kind of flying critters.
Yeah.
And you are some kind of like traveling
Salesman. No, I know.
not necessarily traveling, but like you are a character who within this universe has the ability to bond with flying creatures, at the very least dragons, if nothing else, and maybe draconic kind, because like wyverns are cool too, and everybody knows that wyverns and dragons are completely different. So not only will you have your own personal, like, you know, you can find a lance and a magic lance and full plate armor and leather armor and like have those kinds of skills, which will mostly be irrelevant because like the amount of times that you won't be on your dragon's back, it's going to be pretty low, like outside of like the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then the key part is that your dragon is going to have all these like special detailed skills and abilities and breath weapons and like resistances.
Cool.
And like, okay, this dragon has 17% slashing resistance and 18% piercing resistance, but this dragon has 25% bludgeoning resistance. And like, I want to hit the spreadsheet nerds is where I'm going with this.
Gotcha.
I want the people to be like, okay, so I found this really cool dragon in the Western Wildlands. And he looks like a normal kind of dragon. Like he looks like the average dragon, but his stats are just super high. He's got like this special bonus that makes him completely unique within this like world. And like even going so complex with like the simulation that like different dragons have different preferences of like food and environment and such, and like they have happiness levels and like tameness levels, and like just getting really intricate. Like the game goal here is to get really intricate into like that kind of stuff, as opposed to just being like I wander around the world and I'm a knight and I level up and fight stuff. No, you are like specifically like Mr. Dragon,
but you also,
or Mrs. Dragon.
But you also do like wander the world and do night stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have like quests and
like yes, there's quests that you do. You fight other dragons, and like fighting dragons, you can like tame them or like steal from their nests.
Okay, and then
kings might have like rare dragon eggs that they give you as rewards for collecting taxation or whatever you do for kings. I don't know.
And then is the gameplay like Flight Simulator, or what is like the mechanical like?
So,
or is it just flying around?
What's really funny is that I had not thought about the actual flying aspect at all.
Even though that's like the main part?
No, the main part of it is like the dragon spreadsheets, hilariously.
Yeah. But like you also have to play the dragon.
No, the flying is a very important part, especially because there could be flying dragons and non-flying dragons.
Right, and also there's going to be like air combat in theory.
Yeah, like dragon back combat would mostly be like actually when you're fighting from the top of a dragon, like probably your lance rarely comes up. Most of it's going to be like shooting fireballs and like smashing into each other and clawing and biting. So that I'm like, how simulator should it be as opposed to like how like flight simulator, like should it take into effect like, oh, the wind is blowing a certain direction?
I think my guess is yes, because if you're targeting the spreadsheet nerds.
Well, spreadsheets and like actually doing things are clearly so different, you know?
I guess. I don't know. I feel like
I maybe you're right, spreadsheet nerds, email us. But if you're a spreadsheet nerd, all right, I feel, and there's different types of people.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of like myself, and when I have been into a spreadsheet type of game, I think that if then the game required me to do a non-spreadsheet thing, I think that I would be confused.
Wait,
I'd be
is
like,
the game
wow.
actually having spreadsheets in it?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so it's just people who like spreadsheets. They're making spreadsheets of all the stats because that's like part.
Right.
That.
I just keep using that as like
So,
a kind of joking way, but like
like that's the vibe, and I think that person still really wants like, I don't know. It's very like Gorillas. It's very actual flight simulator to me. Like, wouldn't you want it like, okay, like the temperature is this, which means this dragon can fly this much further, so I'm gonna do this like maneuver.
I think so, but like I also think that like if you're that into like individual dragon stats, right? Like having an 85% hit chance is something that appeals to you. Like, oh, I've optimized this dragon, and so it's got a higher hit chance with its weapon. Like a turn-based, well, not turn-based, it wouldn't be turn-based, but like I'm thinking like Neverwinter Nights style suit, like it could, like you could pause it and give individual commands and stuff, but mostly it's kind of almost an auto battle, like MMO style, like World of Warcraft style.
Well, I don't know that,
because like
I don't want it to be an auto battle. I feel like it should be really fun.
You for a certain kind of person, what I'm describing is very fun.
I don't know, like
you
if
know?
it's, I don't know. You said Dragon's Flight Simulator, and I immediately imagined Dragon Flight Simulator.
Did I call it a flight simulator?
You did.
Oh, I thought I used simulator as a more like drag. I thought I called it a dragon simulator.
I mean, I feel like you said flight simulator because I got it in my head. We'll have to roll back the tape. But
all right. Okay. I do think that the game.
I mean, you got to fly a little bit.
Well, yes, obviously there would be like some kind of flying, but yeah, the more I think about it, probably it is. I just don't know how to control that kind of flying. I don't know what the control system for that would be.
Any randomness. That's what you're trying to avoid.
No, what I'm saying is like.
Well, it
would encourage.
Just do Flight Simulator. I mean, I know. Have you played Flight Simulator?
No, but a dragonfly is completely different than a plane.
It doesn't have to. It's a video game. Just use similar controls.
What?
Just map the controls. It's like when you take like a real life villain and map it to a villain in D&D.
I'm going to use my flight stick controlled dragon.
Yeah, that's the reins. Come on. Play with me in this space.
I'm not going to meet you in this space because I think that this space is patently ridiculous.
All right. Well.
Okay.
And
there should be.
Well, in that case, you're just going to use like a combo of shoulder buttons and the D-pad to like do like rain maneuvers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the answer there.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. But there's so many different things that you'd want to be able to do. Is the problem. That's what I think the main problem that I'm having with like the potential control scheme here.
Maybe there's like an autopilot.
Actually, if you are playing the knight, then maybe the dragon has some kind of like level of internal
and that could also
personality.
be part of the stats.
Yes. Okay, so like you can take direct control of a dragon if it trusts you enough. And maybe that's like a timed ability. Like you have some kind of mind meld thing where yes, you can take but control of like every aspect for a little bit, but for the most part like the dragon will fly around on its own. And like you'll be able to give it commands to like, okay, now bite now, scratch now, or like charge in or something, but for the most part like it kind of has its own sequence, and like from the back you might be like casting spells or like using a crossbow or something. And then like letting it do its thing, but then you're like, okay, I think that we can finish it off. So you give it the command like charge in, and then it does that like according to its own. Like it might even like, depending on its personality, it like might back off a little bit, get the enemy following it, and then like slow down, let the enemy like fly ahead of it, and then swoop and crash down, like do cool stuff like that. And then you wouldn't like the game design brain here is if you let that happen, right? If you take that kind of control away, then the people who are like really interested in just the spreadsheets, like they can get by just having the best spreadsheet and like not having to engage in like, oh, I also have to be good at like the flying mechanics in order to really excel at the game. So it still satisfies them. It gives the people who want to do something to do.
Yeah.
So we've got mass appeal, but also if you like make like the direct control a limited access ability, you don't have to nail it perfectly. I don't think. I think if you limit how much time that they can actually spend in it, you limit how much time they have to explore and find the flaws in it. And so like if every battle you're like, okay, you've got like this dragon super trusts you, so you've got like a 30-second interval where you can like take super direct control, and it's like 30 seconds of your gameplay, like every 5 to 10 minutes is like controlling the dragon. You're not like sitting there and being like, if I need to do a corkscrew turn, it's really awkward and janky and bad.
Right.
And like, if I try to bang a wicked Yui, like it only works 2% of the time because the controls are terrible. Give them as little time as you can spare, and and those quirks won't come up as often and be as frustrating. So that's my little devious game. Sometimes you've got like the good game designer, like he just wants everyone to be having a fun time, and then you've got the devious game designer who's like tricking people into having fun,
which is part of it, I think. And I will say that you've made all of the Fourth Wing fans very happy with this game. Like if you release this game now, making bank. You're making bank.
Actually, gotta start working on this. Oh man, I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna open up Unreal immediately.
TM.
I'm gonna buy a $19 dragon model and just start playing with it. Anyways, that's my super exciting game idea.
Like it.
And we kind of went into a discussion on that.
Yeah, we went a little deep, but that was fun.
Yeah. I hope you were paying attention, prospective game designers, because that little tip about hiding janky things works. It's good.
It's good.
We could probably have a whole episode just talking about some of the like quirky things that game designers do sometimes.
That would be really fun, and I would learn a lot because I don't know these things.
Yeah. Speaking of like percentages and stuff, that's one of the most devious things.
All right, we'll have a devious episode.
Ooh, for Halloween. That's a
so
long
far
time
away.
from now. That gives us time to forget about it and then remember it a week beforehand and rush to research it.
Perfect.
Okay, you've got a game idea.
I have a game idea. It's the shell of an idea. It's based on. So we saw the musical Hadestown today, which I was worried that we would both come up with a similar game idea because we both saw the same thing today.
Why would you think that my game idea would come today? I came up with this a month ago and wrote it down in my
devious.
In my tome of game ideas.
No.
And right before we came downstairs, I opened up my tome, turned to a random page.
Yeah.
Saw that there was no X mark across it because I'd use a big red ink pot with a quill pen and mark an X across the pages that I've already used. And I go, okay, this one will be my idea for the day. And I quickly remember
and that's how you say it every time.
The
every
points.
Week.
Yeah. I quickly memorized it. And then I come downstairs and present it.
Right. Perfect.
And so, the idea that we would come up with the same game idea based on some event that happened on this very day? No, that would never happen because that's just not how this works. Okay.
Right.
All right. Tell me your Hadestown game idea.
Okay, well, it's not... So, big spoilers for Hadestown the musical and also the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. So that's out there. Okay. The mechanic. So it's not really a game idea. I don't have a story. It's not really based on Hades. It's based on other things. Okay. In the story, in the show, they have like a rotating stage. They talk about time, and they say like we say the story again and again, hoping it'll be different. But it never will be. That's like a big theme.
Okay.
So I was like, and it kind of reminded me of the game Oxenfree, where you play a time loop.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in the time loop, things are different, except sometimes they're not, because I can't play it too close together and then I forget what I did. So I don't know. I almost feel like I should start a new save file on that. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I was like, what if it was kind of like that? So you're playing, I picture it kind of like Life is Strange looking-esque, but I don't have a story. So this is just the one mechanic thing is like, you play through the story, you think you're at the end of the game, and then it literally just starts over. But it doesn't like, there's not like credits. It's, it's not like that. It's just like it's a loop.
Okay.
Like you're at like the end is the beginning, and then the character who like introduces the game to you like comes up and says the exact same thing they did at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And the loop never ends.
Okay.
And it's devious also, because the idea is that you would keep trying to find a difference. You would keep trying to figure out, like, is it going to go different this time? Can I do different things this time? But
Wait,
it never will.
But it's always the same?
It's always the same.
Wait. Okay, there's no difference anytime.
No, and so the whole point is that, I mean, obviously you'll be able to discover different things because no matter what video game you play, you'll find new things, I think, throughout the gameplay.
I mean, it's like watching the same movie over again and noticing new details.
But the devious part,
new books.
and the part that I think, the devious part is that, like, this isn't how it would be advertised. Like, it's a loop. And so I just imagine, like, I want the forums. I want people, like, digging deep, the clues. They're like, no, I swear he said something different. Like, I want everyone, like, taking notes.
Oh, boy.
Like, just trying to find something, and it's just always the same.
Oh, no.
No?
No. Okay, this is a buck wild concept. How long of a game would this be?
It can't be too long, because...
Yeah, no, exactly. It can't be too long.
Maybe, like, under 8 hours, I would think.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like 8 hours. I think 8 hours is a good length because it's like you get into it enough, but
yeah,
like 5 to 8 hours maybe. I don't know, but...
5. I think closer to the 5. I'm thinking about like my limit for how long a game would have to be for me. Like Undertale.
To like play it all the way again.
Yeah, Undertale is a game that I think took me 8 hours to do my first playthrough, and I messed up in my first playthrough and didn't get to do like the true pacifist run because there's actual differences between
well,
3 endings.
Well, and that's people are really used to having different endings in video games, which is why, like you said, this is more like watching a movie over and over. It's not going to be different, but you're used to it being different, so that's why it's messing with people.
Oh man, this is so like this.
I can't tell if you hate it or like it or both.
I mean, it steps into the age-old "are video games art" debate.
Mm-hmm. It does. It does lean more towards an art game versus like a game.
It definitely it's more art than it is game, and so that's where I'm like coming from with this, where I'm just like, really, like, what are like?
Well, the game would be fun. That's
hopefully. Well, what would the actual gameplay be?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't have that. That's what I don't have. I just have this, like, conceit. But it'd be fun.
Okay.
It would have to be fun. It would have... I mean, like I said, I feel like I mean, I said it would look like Life is Strangey, but that's just, like, the visuals. It wouldn't be, like, a click adventure. That would be boring.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually the issue with Oxenfree, is it is really, like, a click adventure.
Yeah, and you just kind of, like,
and
listen to
it's so
dialogue
hard for me to play
time.
it over and over. So, like, this has to have some action elements, like some hands-on action. I mean, it could be... I was like, well, it could be the story of, like, Eurydice and Orpheus, but I feel like that's too much. That goes too far.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, the story would obviously have to play into the loop somehow, but I feel like it's very easy to do a loop story. Well, maybe not easy, but like
you
like it's not that complicated of an idea. Like you can make stories fit a loop,
right?
Pretty, yeah. With yeah. Okay. Well, I'm still just reeling about how messy this game is. Like,
you're welcome.
The psychological damage that it would perform upon people, ridiculous.
I was just imagining the Reddit. Like, that's all I was imagining.
Oh my god,
like, that's what I wanted. Also, if you like, if you listener, because I know Isaac's losing his mind over here, but if the listener likes this idea, you should definitely read Tomorrow, which is a really good book about video games, and there's a very artsy game in there that I think people would like.
Every day the same dream?
No, it's not. It's not a real game.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Basically,
Tomorrow. Isn't that the Jason Schreier book?
I don't know who wrote it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up real quick.
I can't remember. I don't think so. I think the person's name was Emily.
Gabrielle Zevin.
Okay, not even close.
Zevin. Okay, both of us are
Close.
wrong. I don't know what book I'm thinking of because I think Jason Schreier, who is an indie game developer, I don't know if he ever went mainstream. But anyways, all right. All right. Moving on. We've got a new segment we're going to talk about because we've pitched games.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We're going to talk about something.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the Pokemon problem.
What is the Pokemon problem?
The Pokemon problem is when you have a game where you can basically like max out stats and like perfect a move, like basically like your player has the right stats, your equipment, or in the Pokemon case, your Pokemon have the perfect stats. You just play the same thing over and over in each battle. So this is very prevalent in Pokemon. You can imagine like, okay, you have like your little guy and he has this really cool move and it's like super OP and like you give him mints to make it more OP, and then every time you battle you just put that guy out first, you do your special move, and that's it, and you're not really like doing anything else. That's the Pokemon problem.
Okay, now I have a question.
Yeah.
Does this extend to, let's say, let's talk about Pokemon still, let's keep it within the realm of Pokemon. Very common thing that I saw back in the day when Red and Blue were new was somebody would have like a level 70 Charizard and they would be fighting like the level 40 gym.
Oh yeah.
Because they only ever used their Charmander,
Yep.
so it would gain all of the experience and it would be a super high level. Does that also count? Does in a game where, because these games that we're talking about usually have levels, does having a vastly higher level count as part of the Pokemon problem, as you call it?
I think so because other games do solve for that. Like if we think about Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom, the enemies get stronger as you get stronger.
Okay.
Or I guess in that case they don't necessarily, but they give you stronger enemies. It's not like the lower level enemies get stronger, but it's like they show more. The game gives you more. The game
hard
scales
enemies. With you,
right? And so like Pokemon doesn't do that. Pokemon's all like location and gym based.
Yes.
So it's like you can go to the low level Pokemon area and it's just going to be level 2. And you can demolish them. With
completely annihilate them with your level 100 Charizard. Yeah. Okay. So I would actually suggest that Pokemon does solve this, but not within the storyline. So the biggest attempt at solving this is the type chart.
Right.
So like a fire type move will be less effective against a water type move, and a water type move will destroy a fire type Pokemon, assuming there's not a gulf of level difference. Yeah. So your Charizard, let's say it's an equal level, will usually, even if he's your strongest guy, against an equal level, water type Pokemon, will usually lose that fight.
Right.
And then they go a step further and they have immunities. So we have to step away from the Charizard here. But if your best Pokemon is Pidgeot and they have Peck.
I always pronounce it Pidgeot. Is that...
I think the actual pronunciation is supposed to be Pidgeot because it's like a jet plane. I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Nobody knows.
I think even in the anime, some characters call it Pidgeot and some characters call it Pidgeot. And anyways, so like Peck is your most powerful move, but it's a flying type move. And sorry, I got this backwards. I got my example backwards. Your favorite Pokemon is Onyx, and he uses Earthquake. That's his big move. You go into a battle against a Pidgeot, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it uses, or it's a flying type, so when you use Earthquake has zero effect on it at all. So you literally cannot win that battle because no matter what, if you're just using Earthquake, you'll do 0 damage, and Pidgeot will eventually.
And like that does solve a little bit of the problem, but I feel like because you have your team, it doesn't. Like once you have like 3 of different types in your team.
Well, then you don't have the problem.
No, I
because
still think
you're
it's a
spreading
problem.
out. You're using different Pokemon with different moves,
but barely. Like it's like, okay, I see this guy. It's not enough for me.
Define solved problem then. Like what are the
Here's what
parameters
I
for?
think.
Because my understanding of the issue was that if you were using like one Pokemon with one move through the entire game, so one character with like one specific attack to bring it away from Pokemon.
Well, I think I think repetition, like constant repetition, is the problem. So even if you have a couple extra moves for like different villains, you're still not mixing it up enough, especially in a world like Pokemon, which I know this isn't just about, but like where there's so many options.
Okay.
And you're not encouraged at all by the game to explore those options, really.
Okay.
And that bothers me. So what I would do, what I was thinking about before we had this conversation, is limited like use, but more
Tears
so
of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild.
Tears
style.
of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, yeah, which I actually really like. The like, but it would be more, and I know they kind of have this, but I would like extend it to like really recharge. Like you can use like an attack like once per battle, and sometimes that might be enough, but otherwise you have to like explore your other attacks, explore other like skills, like that would be
okay.
And you can't recharge it unless you go to a Pokestop or something. Like it's just like much more limited resources per attack, so therefore you're forced to like vary your attacks.
Okay. All right. So now the problem with like systems like that is that a lot of people tend to find those, let's call them artificial limitations, frustrating or not fun. Like they want to use their powerful attacks.
But is it really that artificial? I mean, if we were in the real world, it'd be hard to do those things over and over and over again. It's not very realistic to me.
In the real world, yeah, you're right. I can only use flamethrower once per day.
That's what I'm saying.
My fire breath does not work that often. You're right. No, yeah, there's certainly a way to do it, and many people will, if it's the rules of the game, they will just accept it and they will learn to deal with it. But a lot of people like I see this in tabletop wargaming and role playing, like with players that I play with in like discussions online a lot, like. Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar have like the concept of command abilities, and they cost command points to use. And there's a very careful balance of how many command points that you like give out, because if you give too much, well then they're always going to use the command abilities. Like if they're with the design of certain command abilities, like if there's +1 to hit, yes, they will always use +1 to hit whenever they attack if they have the resource to do so. But if you don't give them enough, then they're going to be like, why do I have all these cool command abilities if I don't have enough to use them?
But I do think command abilities are the same. And like that's a great example, because I feel that way, where it's like kind of like, why wouldn't I use this? It's strong enough. I always have enough command points, and I never explore other ones because this one's just easy and works. And so it's like, yeah, it's the same problem.
But then if you didn't have enough command points, then you would only use that one because it's the one that's guaranteed to work.
Okay, but in the command points, we can make the resource less available. So like, not the points. Keep the points the same, but once you use a certain command ability, that you can't use it again for that whole game. Because usually you get refreshed command points every round.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
That would be how you'd vary it. So you have a list of cool things you can do. You start the round with one. You can't use that one ever again that game.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be very harsh. Because right now, like in Age of Sigmar and 40k, like you can only use like the same command ability once per round.
Oh, so.
Anyways, like not once per round. Yeah. Once per phase is how it is. So the game has the different phases.
Yeah.
So they do limit it because back in the day you used to be able to like, I give you +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 attack.
Yeah.
Mortal wounds on 6s, and the people who don't play war games are now like zoning out. So I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah, I was gonna
but
say,
like you stack them all
this is
up.
not the Warhammer
anyway,
cast.
So yes, yeah. So
I think my issue is it's not like the amount that's available. It's like not being encouraged to explore variety, and also kind of being punished to explore variety. Like, okay, so if I want to like train up, again, going back to Pokemon, if I want to train up someone who's really low level, it's like hard and not fun if you already have level 40 guys. So it's like you just don't have any encouragement to mix it up. But I find it personally boring to do that kind of battle. And the reason we thought of it was because we were playing, what was it called again?
Spring Blades.
Yeah, Spring Blades, which the stream should eventually be up on YouTube. Sorry about that.
Oh shoot, we haven't done that. Oh no.
Well, because it's on your computer, and you were like, oh, you can just edit it, and then I forgot, and then now no one's done it. Oops. Anyway, it's fine. That'll be on YouTube eventually. Because in Spring Blades, you found like the perfect situation very fast. Like it was like this like power up garment, this specific like power up ability, and then like this
I
weapon,
would kick and
right?
it did a massive amount of damage compared to anything
and
else.
it just became like this very repetitive, and like it was cool for a couple moves because you're like, wow, we really found the key to this game. But then now it's just that's every battle, and once we've like seen what all the enemy types look like, it's not really that exciting anymore, and it's not really that fun.
That's true. I would say that in that game, at least, the interesting thing came from general encounter design, where like mostly it didn't matter what enemies did to me. Like if they made me dizzy, like it was inconvenient, but it still didn't hurt like my, let's call it engine, my core engine, that my build resulted in, damage engine. It didn't hurt it that much because dizzy is only so much. But where it came interesting was things like, oh, you do damage to this guy, he gets a power up.
Right. Well, yes.
Or he summons, or...
So I'm not saying, like, I think that's just like, we liked the game.
Yes.
I'm not trying to like diss that game.
No, but I'm saying that's how that game like solved it.
To me, it's
by
not
making
solved.
different encounter designs that made you have to think about how to approach the encounter.
It just
and like,
doesn't-
yes, at the end of the day, I was just like doing kick a lot, but if you watch the stream, you'll see that there was a lot of times where I was like, okay, who do I kick?
Right, that was more the strategy. It was like, what order do we like destroy
like,
enemies
who's the best
Which,
target
again,
to kick right
I like
now?
this game. I'm not trying to say that it's a game, and even Pokemon, like, it's not like, it doesn't mean it's unplayable. I just think that there is a flaw in that style of gameplay, but maybe the flaw is just that I don't find it interesting.
And people will often, when they're talking about RPGs, they will talk about how at a certain point, like you either like over level or you find like the super move and then you just spam it and like you win. And like speedrunners will use that to their advantage.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you know,
a lot.
We gotta let the speedrunners run.
You gotta let the speedrunners run. And I think that it is a very difficult problem to solve because, I mean, just as this discussion shows, like different people will have different opinions on like what they would consider a solve. Like I think it's solved just by having different encounter designs. Like if Pokemon leaned harder on like type triangle or not type type matchups and stuff, which they already lean pretty hard. And actually, in one of the games, I think it was the Hawaii one, there was a really interesting battle. There was like only one in the entire game, but there was a very interesting battle where it was like the gym battle equivalent where you fought like a super Pokemon, and like he had a summon and he had a special ability that like normal Pokemon wouldn't get that like made him immune to more types than like that Pokemon would normally be. And like he would summon Pokemon that played well into the types that he acted as. I wish I could remember more because I was like, holy crap, this is very interesting. But it was like the only fight in the entire game that did that. It's like I went in and I'm like, oh, okay, he's a normal type, so I'm just going to use a fighting type move. And it's like, oh, he's actually a ghost type. And he summons like somebody who uses a certain type of move that was like effective against what I would naturally be bringing against it. And it's like, oh no. And then I had to like figure out, do I fight the summons first? How often does he summon? Can he infinitely summon? Do I just focus on him? Will that end the battle? Or then do I have to deal with the summons? So that was a generally very interesting thing. And I think that kind of thing like solves the problem. But it sounds like you don't necessarily think that because like, oh, all you have to do is switch to a different Pokemon and then use their super move. Which, granted, that is like what Pokemon boils down to, is knowing that. And like, I think high level like competitive play and like the Pokemon Tower, the way that they do this, they limit you. Well, not the Pokemon Tower. I think specifically limits you to 3 Pokemon, so you don't have as wide of a variety of choices. Like you cannot control for every single situation, and then they throw like specifically like, let's call them sweaty Pokemon team builds at you, where they will
spaghetti.
where like they are real try hard stuff that are like that. This is how I learned the swagger dig combo, where you confuse your opponent and increase their attack power with a move called swagger, and then you dig, and then every other turn you can't be hit at all because you're underground. And every time that you are above ground, they have a 50% chance of hitting themselves for increased damage because they're confused, and swagger also raises their attack. And it's super annoying. And it's also a risk reward. Anyways, that kind of strategy, that was something that a Pokemon developer put into the game. They realized the potential of how annoying that was. They put it into the game, and they were like, let's put this into a situation where the player comes across this and then has to learn how to deal with that. Very frustrating thing. Anyways, I just thought that was cool, and I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I did lose the plot a little.
Yeah, I rambled.
It's okay.
So I think that means it's time.
Yeah, to wrap it up. But, if anyone has a good solve for this or has seen games that kind of address it in different ways than we discussed, you could send us an email, makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time for our final round, which we call the rapid fire round.
Yeah.
Oh, you looked at me like you didn't know what I was talking about.
No,
okay.
I looked at you with my normal face.
Okay. Well, anyway, the rapid fire round is where you generate... Now you're not looking at me with your normal face.
No, I'm looking at my phone.
Okay. The rapid fire round is where we generate 3 random words. We have 5 minutes to come up with a game idea based on those 3 words. And I accidentally opened up random number generator, and that's not it.
We can't do this with numbers.
Can you imagine if I was like 15, 3, 29? But this is how you know that this is truly random. Because if it wasn't, I would already have some kind of a Google Doc or something. Yeah, all right, I'm ready.
I'm starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I might have to reset these. I'm going to read them just in case.
Okay.
Rotten.
Okay.
Opposed.
Okay.
An.
An?
A-N. I have an apple.
Can you re-roll just one?
I don't know. I mean, I could just generate one word. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, let's throw out an.
Possible.
So, opposable?
No.
Opposed, rotten, possible.
Yeah.
You are a
zombie.
Go
back, so,
You're
okay.
a zombie. Okay. All right. And you want to become a real person again. So it's like Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, but zombie.
From a zombie.
Okay, yep. No, I'm into it. I got it.
And so the way that you do that is you go around and you defeat wicked humans, specifically wicked humans, so that we're still a sympathetic character. But as you defeat the wicked humans, you gain semblances of their humanity that they've sacrificed by being wicked.
So obviously rotten is the zombie part.
Yeah.
Possible is that...
And the souls of the humans that you're slaying.
Right. And possible is
rotten.
the possibility of becoming real.
Yes.
What's the opposed part?
That's the battling the
that
wicked
you're opposing
humans.
wickedness. So it feels very Has-Been Hotel.
You watched 2 episodes, and now you're has-been pilled here.
Yeah.
Bringing it up. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a Has-Been Hotel reference. Okay. Yeah.
Trying to rehabilitate a demon-esque creature.
Sure, yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
You can give that one to me.
But I think the idea is that you're already rehabilitated. You just want to be alive
basically
again.
You're collecting souls a la Leongar in Kirby.
Yeah, and I think that the quirk here, and it's not a gameplay quirk, but the story quirk is each human maybe represents a specific sin. They've lost a part of their own humanity to some kind of sin, but by defeating them you gain that lost part of humanity yourself.
So if they've lost compassion, then you get compassion, and
exactly the evil thing that they represent you ironically gain from them.
Cool. An ironic zombie redemption game.
Yes.
And it's called...
Well, no, first we actually have to come up with gameplay, and I'm thinking it's a normal third-person platformer action game. Not necessarily platformer, but I imagine that the character can jump. It might not be the primary mode of the game because zombies aren't exactly known for that, but I imagine that you're running around and doing action. I'm imagining almost Jack and Daxter or medieval kind of games. Jack and Daxter is a little bit more of a platformer, but that sort of game.
You.
Yeah. I mean, a more modern version of that game. It's less gamey, but like Breath of the Wild style.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Okay.
in actual gameplay, but like Breath of the Wild has all the extra trappings of like open world stuff.
Right,
and,
which
like,
this would not.
weapons and stuff.
Okay,
This would
yep.
not have that.
I'm on that page.
All right, and the name is Brain Drain.
Well, no, because we're doing the opposite, right? Brain game.
Ooh, Brain Game.
But it's not the brain, it's the soul. So
That's true.
Do we want to work it a little more? How much time do we have?
We've got a little over a minute.
Okay, so that'll be our back pocket if we get too low
Okay.
on time, because I don't hate it, but I think we can get a little closer to the game.
Okay.
Soul ghoul, and then people will just argue about how to pronounce any of it.
Soul Ghoul? Soul Ghoul?
Soul Ghoul.
Okay. Okay. Now we have less than a minute left. All right.
Soul Ghoul.
Okay. Okay.
No, it can be brain game.
I keep thinking of like Dark Souls and
Okay.
Souls-likes, and I want to call it Dark Ghouls, but then I think Dark Gowls or Dark Gulls. There's also a game that's literally about Pinocchio, which is a Dark Souls-like game called Lies of P. But okay, I'm wasting too much
It's
time.
brain game, I guess.
It's Brain Game.
That's what
Brain Game. Okay,
that was our back pocket.
with 12 seconds left.
We had to take it out
I
of the
also
back pocket.
like Ghoul Souls or Soul Ghoul.
Yeah, it was Soul Ghoul, and so you could say Soul Ghoul or Soul Ghoul.
Okay, but okay, can we settle on Ghoul Souls?
Yeah.
Ghoul Souls.
Yeah, we can settle on that because
Okay.
we did discuss it during the
I
time
stopped
frame.
the timer a little early, but
Yeah,
I think
so
we
I'm gonna count that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can call it Soul Ghoul.
no Ghoul Souls.
Ghoul Souls?
Wait, is that what we just agreed
I
to?
thought it was Soul Ghouls. Or Soul
Okay,
Ghouls.
all right. Let's generate more words.
Ghoul Souls.
That's behind us now.
Okay, yeah, it's gone. We ditched it. All right. How did I lose the tab, folks? Where did it go?
Unbelievable.
I still have random number generator.
Unbelievable. This is crazy.
Yeah. What am I? Amateur? I am gonna, now that I have to reload it, I am gonna say it needs at least 3 letters.
Okay,
I
so we
usually
get
have that turned on.
We get the next time.
Letters greater than 2. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I'm starting. 3, 2, 1, go.
Momentum, incongruous, and jury.
Okay. All right.
Incongruous?
and jury makes sense because like
I need to look up incongruous. Like I know
like things that don't add up, like that don't match up, basically. Incongruous details. I think it's actually a mathematical geometric term,
it says
but
lacking in harmony, incompatible,
Yeah.
not in agreement, inconsistent.
yeah, so like jury makes sense because like you see which facts are
12 Angry
inconsistent.
Men.
Blah.
The game.
Yeah, exactly.
A game everyone's been asking
and we've
for.
made that game many times
That's
actually
true.
in the rapid fire round.
Dang.
Then it's the first word. Remind me what that was?
I gotta find it again. Momentum.
Momentum. Makes it a little harder.
What if it's more like a puzzle game and you're building a Rube Goldberg machine? The jury part, I don't know where this fits, but
The jury, we're gonna bend it a little bit.
Okay.
It's the jury. We're gonna abstract out to you gaining a score at the end of the level.
okay, yeah, it's being juried.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, and the score system will be based on a number of points, like how, like wacky of a Rube Goldberg machine. Like how many steps were you able to get?
And the
functioning?
incongruous part is that, like, if you mess up and it doesn't match, then there's that. But also that the wacky choices you make, like, did you use a rubber chicken? That's pretty.
Okay, yeah.
You get more points
You
for that.
also get, certain pieces give more points, but the harder the piece is to incorporate into any given design, it's worth more points.
Yeah.
So, like, a rubber chicken is maybe, like, because it's rubber, the bounciness factor is highly random.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
oh, yep.
like, it's worth a lot of points because it more often than not will wreck your run.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's it.
And what's the name?
You can't call it Rube Goldberg. That's probably TM'd.
That probably, yeah.
Wacky Pathway.
Okay. Wacky Paths.
Wacky Paths.
Wacky Paths.
Wacky Paths.
Boom. 2 minutes and 38 seconds left on the clock. I like Wacky Paths. That was a good Wacky Paths. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start the timer again in A, B, C. Go.
Gold.
Berg.
Disc.
Prove.
Prove. Prove.
Another jury game?
No.
Another jury game?
It doesn't have to be a jury game.
In my house?
I was thinking gold disc makes me think of like Data.
Gold disc.
C-3PO.
Okay. Golden disc. What was the last word?
Prove. That's the hardest
Golden
one.
disc prove?
Do you have to prove something with your disc?
Corporate espionage?
That's not. Is that it?
You get the golden disc?
Is that a game?
To prove?
I mean, spy game.
Yeah. No, there's all kinds of spy games. Like, this could be like a Hitman kind of game where you have to like keep disguising yourself.
I think it should be like
to,
a whistleblower
infiltrate.
game. Because you're trying to get the golden disc for proof.
Okay,
so.
can we make it like arcadey? Like, by
sure.
arcadey I mean like not too deep or serious.
Yeah.
Like, you just sit down and play. So you start at the top floor of a building, grabbing the golden disc of the office building, and then you have to fight your way back down to the bottom floor through all the different dungeon levels, basically. And like, it gets harder for some reason as you go down. It's basically like a action roguelite kind of
I can picture it.
situation, and it's just about battling your way through like randomly generated office spaces, picking up keyboards to smash each other. I know you didn't play it, but it's basically like that Going Under game.
Oh yeah, I did play some of it.
You played it for 2 seconds, saw the camera, and quit out.
That game. Yeah, I keep forgetting that because I think of it. The one, remember I think it's just called Downfall.
Shoot Boots.
Oh yeah, Shoot Boots.
So that's not the actual name, but everybody calls it Shoot Boots.
I keep thinking that's Going Under because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So I get very confused. Yeah, no, I couldn't actually play Going Under. It was too
It's called
nauseous.
Downwell.
Downwell. Okay, yeah. It was too nauseous for me.
Yeah, you saw the camera for 2 seconds and you were like, I'm done.
Yep.
Okay. So anyways, our action roguelite brawler. Yeah.
But at the end, it says, you leaked the secrets. And there's like a cool little graphic of a newspaper or something. I just want to make sure it's clear that it's a whistleblowing game.
And actually, here's my little quirk, my political subterfuge, political nonsense I'm putting in. The CEO is the first thing that you fight, and he's also the weakest person in the entire office.
Yeah,
you beat him up, grab the disc.
But it's all the workers that are really the backbone of what's going on.
They are the backbone, and they get stronger the lower down because it's like a pyramid situation where the base is the strongest. Like, by the end of it, like, you have to begrudgingly fight through like the janitorial staff that doesn't exactly know what's going on, but like, without janitors, your office is not going to run efficiently because it's going to be gross and disgusting and sticky. And so you need, like, all these people are way more important than the CEO. Sorry, CEOs.
I also like this because, like, normally you fight a lot of, like, a mass amount of weaker bosses to get to one final very strong boss. And this is, like, fighting, like, a weak one person and then a massive strong, like, that's hard. So this is actually very fun. We like it a lot. It's called Secrets in the Office.
Is there some way that we can fit the word brawl into an office related word?
Yes. Bubbler brawl. Bubbler being a water fountain. Okay.
Stand up, agile, scrum brawl.
These are all just tech jobs.
There's scrum meetings in non-tech. Is there really not? What? Okay. Well, what are some business money terms?
KPIs. EBITDA.
What's EBITDA?
I don't know what it stands for.
Oh my God, because we could be
earnings before something. It's I don't know.
Okay, so we can't do earnings brawl data.
Wait, let me just look it up real quick.
We've got 20 seconds left. So
okay, other like brawl, basement brawl.
Oh, boardroom brawl.
Boardroom brawl, we did it.
Boom, boardroom brawl with 9 seconds left.
And I won't say Scrum is not exclusive to tech spaces. It's just, I would say, like, mostly used in a tech space.
Okay, well, I guess I'm a tech nerd.
You are. That's fine.
You
That's
can't
okay.
call me that.
Where does it say? Sorry, I just need to know what this stands for. Oh, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
That is no.
EBITDA.
Okay. All right. Well, if you want to email us, we have an email. It's makethatgame@gmail.com.
It's not that. It's make that. It is makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at makethatgamepod. We have some fun TikToks going out like every once a month. So
We stream once a month.
we do stream once a month. We are most likely streaming, I think, May 25th. Does that date conflict in your mind with anything?
Off the top of my head, yes, but you know what? We'll get back to you.
We'll that was the weekend I saw as the first we could do, so we'll hope for the best. And what else do I say? I think that's everything. Oh, leave us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or anything else that you can give reviews.
That's helpful, it turns out.
And also, word of mouth is really helpful. So if you really like this podcast, please
tell your friends.
Yeah, please talk about it. It's nice. And then if you did hear a game today and you're like, I have to play Boardroom Brawl, please get out there and make that game.